Okay, so if you watch enough of my TikToks, you'll see me saying on multiple occasions that court orders are to be followed. No, can I break the court order if this happens, and can I break the court order if that happens? Court orders are not suggestions. That said, sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes things that come up that you really can't predict and really can't legislate for, and you just have to get on with it. And that's when you need to use good old-fashioned common sense, which I know is hard because in the family court it often feels that that's in very short supply, often from the people in the court as well, the litigants. So let me give you a scenario. Let's imagine it's 10 AM and the children are due to be handed over, and for whatever reason you can't do that. And what reasons would be considered? Well, things that are out of your control, things that you couldn't have predicted. So it could be something, for example, you're driving down the motorway and there's been a huge pile up ahead of you and there's tailbacks that go back 4 miles. You know what? If that's the case, not much you can do. What happens if there's been a train accident or all the trains have been cancelled due to a signal fault just outside Reading? That sort of thing. Once again, you can't predict that. You can't do anything about it. So you need to work on good old-fashioned common sense and courtesy to try and come up with a solution. In this sort of scenario, it would be something along the lines of you contact your ex where possible and you say to them, look, on my way, there's been an accident, there's been a huge train delay, I'll be with you at this time, or I'll keep you updated. And your ex, being the reasonable person they are, no sniggering at the back, will say, yep, that's no problem, thank you for letting me know. No drama, right? Now, I get it, you've got the worst ex in the world. Of course your ex isn't going to do that. Of course your ex is going to make a big song and dance to say that you're breaking a court order. They're going to be contacting the solicitor, making all sorts of threats. You're never seeing the kids again, all that sort of stuff. Look at it from a court's point of view. Let's imagine that your ex follows through with their threats and they go and speak to their solicitor, and your solicitor sends you a really awful letter or email to say that no more contact's going to take place until you can guarantee X, Y and Z, or they're going to take you back to court for a breach of the order, and they're going to throw the book at you and get costs, all that sort of stuff that we know and love, or know and hate. What do you do then? Okay, well, like I say, look at it from the court's point of view. A judge will, if it's a one-off or occasionally, is liable to say around in this scenario, look, stuff happens sometimes, life gets in the way. If it happens on a regular basis, well, that's a different issue. It could be that if you keep turning up half an hour late each time after the court order, why is that? Perhaps you need to leave earlier. Perhaps you need to come up with a different solution. Perhaps we need to amend the court order to take into account what you can manage if you're saying, well, it's just not possible because of the timetable. Your ex is going to look pretty stupid though if they're going to take into account the fact that once in a blue moon they're late because of things that they couldn't possibly have foreseen. Look, it cuts both ways as well. If stuff like that happens to you occasionally, chances are it's going to happen to them sooner or later, and you'd be equally stupid to make a song and dance over things like that. So look, be reasonable, even if your ex isn't. If your ex is the sort of person who's going to make a huge song and dance about you being late once in a blue moon, well, if you've got an ongoing case, it's going to be a good way to demonstrate how they're unreasonable and hostile towards you. And let's be honest, is dragging it back to the court because you were half an hour late because there was a traffic jam caused by a huge accident that you couldn't predict it, is that reasonable? What would they expect you to do differently? What would the court expect you doing differently? Nothing.